it's easy to slip into, difficult to recognize, and often disguised as contentment. It's something that's quietly eroded potential, slowed progress, and undermined greatness more effectively than opposition ever could. I'm talking about complacency. Complacency isn't loud. It doesn't announce its arrival with fanfare. It whispers. It convinces you that things are good enough. It offers a comfortable chair and says, rest here, you've done enough. And maybe you have. Maybe you've worked hard, accomplished a goal, reached a milestone. But the danger lies in believing that progress is permanent, that success will coast on momentum alone, that the world will wait for you while you stop to admire your own work, and it won't. The problem with complacency is that it feels deceptively like peace, but it isn't peace. It's stagnation disguised as satisfaction. And that distinction between complacency and genuine satisfaction is critical. Satisfaction is the result of effort. It's the well-earned breath after a job done right, after improvement, after some sort of meaningful growth. It's not the end, it's a checkpoint. It's a brief pause to recognize that you're on the right path. It's not a reason to stop walking it. Complacency, on the other hand, is the death of that journey. It pretends to be the reward. It tells you you've arrived when you're actually only about halfway there. It convinces you that things will always be as they are now because it's terrified of change. It's terrified of disruption, of evolution, terrified of the discomfort that comes with true progress. Complacency doesn't just halt growth, it reverses it. While you rest on your laurels, the world continues to turn. Competitors keep pushing, innovators will keep building. The problems you once solved start to reappear because maintenance is also a form of effort, and complacency doesn't do maintenance. Complacency is a thief. It doesn't steal all at once. It takes a little bit at a time. It dulls your edge. It weakens your instincts. It narrows your perspective. You stop asking questions. You stop being curious. You stop learning. And once you stop learning, you start falling behind. It happens in relationships. It happens in businesses. It happens in careers. It happens in nations. Empires crumble not always from external invasion, but from the internal rot of complacency. Think of the craftsman who perfects his trade. The day he believes he can no longer improve is the day his craft begins to decay. The moment he stops challenging himself, stops looking for better methods, stops staying sharp, that's when he starts going backward, whether he notices it or not. Excellence demands vigilance. It demands a refusal to settle. It demands that we never allow comfort to replace hunger. Let's talk about athletes. The ones at the top of their game never assume they've made it. They train with the same fire as they did when they were chasing their first victory, because they know that the moment they think they can't lose is the moment they become most vulnerable. They're not fueled by fear, but by respect for the game they play, for their opponents, for the constant possibility of growth. They don't see success as a destination, but more as a moving target. This doesn't mean we should be miserable or always striving for more in a way that denies ourselves joy. That's where the difference between complacency and satisfaction matters most. You can be satisfied and still hungry. You can be grateful for what you've accomplished without becoming blind to what remains undone. You can love where you are and still believe in where you're going. In fact, I think that's the ideal state: to appreciate without anchoring, celebrate without settling. The mindset that guards against complacency is one that asks, what's next after every success? It's not a question rooted in dissatisfaction, but in vision. It's about evolution. It's about becoming more capable. It's about becoming more effective and more aware. It's about honoring the efforts that brought you here by continuing to honor them tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Let's bring this closer to home. In your relationships, complacency can make you stop showing appreciation. It can cause you to take people for granted, to assume that love or friendship doesn't require continued effort. But relationships, like gardens, wither without care. Complacency in love says, they know how I feel, instead of taking the time to say it. It stops trying to impress, stops listening, stops nurturing. And then one day, you wake up wondering why the connection feels distant, when the answer is that you stopped showing up with the same heart you once had. In the workplace, complacency kills innovation. It says, this is how we've always done it, instead of asking, is there a better way to do this? It keeps teams from taking risks, keeps them from questioning systems, and just pursuing excellence in general. It favors routine as opposed to reinvention. And in a world that changes as quickly as ours does, routine has really become a liability. The companies that last aren't ones that found a model and stuck to it. They're the ones that adapt, improve, and challenge themselves constantly. On a personal level, complacency tells you that growth is only for the ambitious or the young. It says you're too old to change, or you've already peaked. That voice is a liar. Growth has no expiration date. Your potential doesn't retire. Every day is a chance to learn something new, to become a better version of yourself. Complacency is what tells you to wait. It says there will be a better time, but the better time is now. It's always now. So how do we fight complacency? Not with panic, but with purpose. Not by sprinting blindly toward that next milestone, but just by staying awake, aware of ourselves, our values, the people around us, the standards we want to uphold. We fight it by asking hard questions. Are we coasting? Are we repeating what we've always done because it's easier than starting fresh? Are we avoiding discomfort because we've mistaken it for danger? Are we letting fear of failure lull us into the safety of sameness? Real fulfillment doesn't come from settling. It comes from stretching, from knowing that you showed up, you gave your best even when you didn't have to, that you didn't let your past success become some sort of cage, that you were brave enough to keep moving, to stay curious, to stay hungry. That is the kind of life worth living. So don't let complacency sneak in and take hold. Don't let it whisper in your ear that comfort is the same as meaning. Choose to keep showing up. Choose to keep striving. Not because you're never enough, but because you know you're capable of more. And because the world needs that more. Your ideas, your voice, your evolution. The world doesn't need more people resting on their laurels. It needs more people willing to rise again and again, not for applause, but for purpose. If you enjoyed this video,